hole in the dash to start the video. It's not a mint truck, so who cares? But with that, welcome back to the channel, guys. Another video of just random things. We're not going to be doing anything too major today. I want to tidy up the truck because you're going to notice in the past few videos there's been some things done that were off camera, behind the scenes, however you want to say that. We're no longer sitting in bucket seats. We're sitting in a bench seat with a real Mexican blanket on it, which is pretty cool. Driving the truck, it's really nice, except for the fact that every time you sit in it, if you feel like you need a tetanus shot. You got wiring falling down everywhere. We did patch the rocker, but we left a bunch of random holes in a bunch of random spots. So today we're going to actually pull a bunch of the interior apart. We saw in the time lapse at the beginning, made a hole in the dash. That's because instead of having this thing just zip tied and flopping around always, it's just mounted here. Things like that. It's always the last 10-20% with a build for me. We saw in a previous video I did mount the air ride, and I mounted it with like 2 feet up into the bed. It looked like crap. It was going to make the bed a foot deep, which was terrible. Went through, redid all of that, remounted the compressors, redid this. Need to throw some welds on those 2 points, but it will all be removable, and now the bed will be essentially flat. The seat's real good, but it's not bolted down. Yesterday's video, we were sliding around, pressing the brakes and stuff like that, so pull the bench seat out, get the air ride installed. We have some gauges we're going to just temporarily throw in here so we have an oil pressure and a coolant, because driving around with absolutely 0 gauges is not what we want to do. Me and wifey actually become husband and wifey in a week, so that's going to be pretty cool. But the week after that is a big show, so I'm not saying that show is more important, but we want to try and take the truck to its first show, which will be Unique 10, so it's August 27th. We got about a week and a half, 2 weeks to, we got to do a fan, little stuff like the gauges, odds and ends, a bunch of little wiring things, so why not get a bunch of random content done? With that, let's just dive into more time lapse of a lot of grinding to clean all this up, some welding, and then a whole bunch of painting and sound editing. I don't know about you guys, I love these before and after videos, so let's get this before. Actually, yeah, well, before a bunch of B-roll, and then, well, after a bunch of B-roll. But I'm sitting here enjoying the fact that the truck is so low that it feels like the steering's broken. In reality, this is just the truck's literally hovering in the front end. That's how low it is. It feels like it has power steering, but it doesn't. The control arms have just bottomed out. I'm a kid at heart, I swear. Enough ramble, let's get some work done. Someone, I just totally ran the camera into this. You guys probably heard a bonk, but someone convinced me that this was a great idea. I'm that someone. To do all of this in almost 90-degree weather. Worst thing. So, got half. Okay, this is 1 can, and it's just rust converter. It's like a rust converter primer type of deal. Just going through and spraying it down. I always forget she has this weird back window cover thing, so I just covered the window to keep that. Everything's been wire wheeled. I do need to chop out a little piece of this to fix it, like I did on that side over there. I just chopped out that. It's just sitting in there. Obviously we have to go through and weld it, but like I was saying, 1 can did basically the whole part of this, and then the whole back firewall portion. So I'm hoping we have 2 cans left. I should have bought 4, but I bought 3. Hopefully 1 more can will cover that. 1 can will cover that. I'm going to find actual hardware to bolt all this down, take that piece, burner in there, and then I think get it all primed out. I keep saying primer, but I mean converter, rust, whatever. Once it's all done, kill mat. I dug the kill mat out, which I knew I had a box floating somewhere. I don't know how much is left, but oh. Yeah, it's almost full. I'm an idiot. Alright, so we have plenty of kill mat to do this. We'll do the floor, the firewall, good portion of all that stuff. Like I said, we have carpet for it. It's a 65 black carpet kit that I had in the 55. But I'm thinking there, we're just going to roughly set it down on the kill mat. This thing needs to be cleaned. It has like a gross moldy spot on one thing, and I don't know. But once we get it all cleaned out, maybe we'll throw the bench seat back in and everything like that after I do the worst. I hate finding the holes in the floor through carpet and kill mat and all that crap. Doing a bunch of little tedious stuff, just getting it done today. I have a bunch of gauge cluster stuff we're going to be digging into after this. We'll just throw the sensors in and stuff like that. But the main thing is we're going to be taking a 69 to 72 filler neck, and we're going to, it's a 69 to 72 blazer, which is a weird, odd thing, but we're going to be cutting that into the fender and making a custom filler setup. So stay tuned. Get all this done, keep diving in. But for now, more time-lapsey stuff. I am just trying to get through the heat. Hopefully, it's like 4 now, 4:14. Hopefully in the next hour or so, cools down a bit. Keep sweating and dying. Content, content, content. Alrighty, the temperature is actually starting to drop. It's starting to feel a little bit better, a little more manageable, and I'm in the shade now, which is enjoyable to say the least. Couple little issues I'm running into. One, I don't have the gauge metal I would like to fix the floor, and then as I dig into it more and more and more and more, I'm just finding worse and worse spots. So this is just so cheesy through here. As much as the metal that I have, every time I start tacking to it, I mean, it's coming out good. There's not a giant hole in the floor that your foot wants to go through. I should try and weld in here a little bit more, but I need to fix a spot here. On this side, I threw a little paint on it already, but you can still see light through that one spot. I'm thinking for now, we're just going to clean it up, get the rest of the rust converter down across the rest of the floor, up on the firewall, and then we're going to just start going ahead and getting the kill mat out of that box and throwing it all onto the floor here. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, why are you gonna do something twice? I think I'm gonna do this, and then we're actually gonna buy a new front floor pan insert, and I'm just gonna replace the whole front of the floor on both sides. Everything through from about here back. It's super solid. I mean, as solid as could be. Got a little here, like I said, where the gas tank used to be that I need to fix. That side's actually really good. It's just this one spot here. But the rest of the floor is so nice. For now, we'll get the kill mat down. Worst case, I have to go through and I gotta cut, what, like an 8x8 little section of kill mat, so I can replace all this, or we strip the kill mat back to this line here, replace the whole front panel, and then just yeah. It's not gonna be the end of the world. All that matters is now this isn't rusty anymore. There's not rust all through here, and it's not covered in grease and just gross and nasty. It's gonna allow me to put the kill mat down nice and clean, and then yeah, we get the carpet down, seat back in, etc. The temperature's just fighting me. I'm sweating so much and just I feel like I'm dying here. Go ahead and just continue freaking doing all this stuff and getting it to a point where I'm happy. So I guess next is, now that I threw a new battery in because this thing decided to die while I was welding, throw a couple bolts into the center so it's holding this panel down, because this guy is just kind of flopping. So a few bolts there, and then we'll just time lapse this kill mat stuff. And then I have a bunch of random stuff we're gonna start getting done. Sensors, odds and ends, little stuff for the engine. With that, let's get some work actually done. Start to the day, for day 2 of finishing this video out for the makeover on the Wife 64. Somehow talked myself into doing the neighbor's Corvette's water pump. Anybody who's done Corvette water pumps know that's no fun. It's 92 low. It's a 13,000 mile original Corvette, and make a little pocket change, why not? But now we're diving into this thing. Just knock out the plugs and a bunch of miscellaneous little crap. Like I was saying, we're gonna fire this thing up, warm it up real fast, test and see if the coolant gauge works since we added that. Make sure the air ride's still working since I moved a couple little things off camera, and then mainly bleed the brakes, make sure the brakes are a little better with it on and running instead of off, and see if that helps. And then I threw the fan on real fast, so we'll test and see if the fan works. But let's see if this thing actually wants to fire up and run with the new plugs in it. In park. Way happier with new plugs. I always forget how loud this thing is, so let it sit and idle for a bit, warm up. Make sure this guy works. I did not throw the oil pressure stuff in yet. I have the copper line. Stop loading at the screen, Joe. I have the copper line and stuff to throw the oil pressure gauge in, but I can't get down under the truck to get to any of that. So even though it's going to warm the truck up, which is then going to make this all a hell to do, at least I will be able to get the truck in the air. So enough Ramatron. Let's get this thing warmed up. So, me and wifey just about pissed ourselves. A little bit scary. Where is this thing? Airline T? What's missing? Here, I'll hold it this way. What's missing? Come on guys. What's missing? It just freaking blew out while we were sitting here letting this idle. Cool part is, I shut it off so we could actually hear while I film this, but that's where it's been sitting. With it idling, it's like 185-ish, 170 with this big fan on that I threw. I set it on with one of those Hayden little clip things. I'll show you guys in a minute. But we're gonna replace this T real fast, so then I can air the front back up. Because, dude, if she would have been driving and that would have happened, that's so bad. The truck is so low in the front, it acts like it has power steering when it's fully bagged out, because the front wheels aren't touching the ground. The crossmember is holding everything up. That would have been the worst situation ever. But bled the brakes out with it running, so we had vacuum, which seemed like it helped tremendously. And now that we have coolant, dang, I just blew the front out. I needed the front up to do the oil pressure. Alright, so I'm going to get all this situated in a minute, and then we're going to end the video out with one last special item. I don't know, modification, whatever you want to call it. I got an idea, but we'll see if it works. See that? That's where it wants to idle, with that fan just going like crazy. I love it. I love it. So I moved it, bled the brakes a little bit more with her. Currently, yes, this is ghetto, I know. The fan is it's temporary. The mounts are good. Gonna snip the little, little mounting guys that they got down there, but it's one of my Mishimoto 16 inches from, it sounded really weird, one of the 16-inch Mishimoto fans that I had from the sponsorship that I got when we were doing S10 twin turbo stuff, yada yada yada. Truck's so good now. I mean, it's cooling. Like I said, I have everything for the oil pressure, which is where? Right here? Yeah, so we have everything for the oil pressure. I have just turned this garage into such a mess over the last 2 days between working on her truck, working on another project that we'll see, working on 4Runner stuff, working on Harley stuff. It's turned into a fiasco. But like I said, we're going to finish the video out with one last modification. There's no way to fill fuel into this thing adequately. Like I said, 69 to 72 K5 Blazer filler neck. Where is this going to go? Well, I didn't want it to be intrusive in the bed. We're trying to keep the bed as low-key and as nice as possible. So as you come back to the fender, yeah. Get the idea? Let's start making holes. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Don't say anything about that stupid rag in the gas tank. Of course, as usual, check the part numbers on something. It says it's this and that and blah blah. It's like the third tank or gas tank cap I've tried on that. Yeah. So at some point, I'm gonna get the right tank cap for that. But we got to see there. Quick little install. It's in the fender now. I just mocked it all up. A couple hose clamps later, it's perfectly fine. I'm happy. I'm tired. It's hot. Truck is exactly where we want it to be for the show, minus a few little odds and ends that I'll probably end up taking care of off camera. I want to test the brakes a little bit more, figure out, I don't know, they still feel a little soft. Not quite sure what that deal is though. And then, like I said, oil pressure line kit, get that done now that the motor is about cooled down. It's up, it's working. It's terrifying that that plastic airline blew out, the Amazon fittings. Man, had that happened at speed, whoo, but with that, I'm out of here. I'm going to play musical cars again so I can get this video started. The one I've been waiting for. But with that, stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hellojojoe builds. I'm out.